All right, welcome back in McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Talking a little bit of that Texas A&M Miami matchup in our previous segment. We'll stay with that. We'll continue to get to that. Talk some of these other matchups as well. We haven't really dialed in on college football playoff, the matchups that are there. Before we do that, Greg, let's go way back because something else that we never did was break down the SEC championship game and how and why sort of the way things went the way that they did. What stuck out to you in this game when you went back and watched the film, mainly as to why Georgia's defense had the success that it did against Alabama?
I just didn't think it was a very good day when it comes to identifying. I thought that they got overloaded a couple times. I thought the backs were not good in protection. The timing and getting the ball out on time was a little bit off. A throw or two that could have been a split second earlier, and it might have been a different result, but those windows closed quickly. I never thought that they forced a safety out of the middle of the field. I mean, they never really forced anybody to. They kind of were able to play the edges and play a bunch of zone and kind of do what they do. To me, I just think it was kind of one of those buzzsaw days, and it all starts up front. And they got to be better in protection, and they got to give Ty a chance.
Yeah. What stuck out to me on this is when you're playing Georgia, you can't miss. Like, that was my big takeaway. And early on in the game, there was a counter. You'll know the exact play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if it was play 4 or 6 or whatever.
Was very early.
It's on the left hash, and you get a jet motion coming with it going left to right. And Puller comes around, and the edge defender and tight end are kind of in a little bit of a tussle. It's a little bit of a stalemate, and he runs in to try to help the tight end with the edge defender. And the front side tackle and guard are blocking back to the backside linebacker, and there's Raylan Wilson just standing in the hole to make the tackle. And it's like that might work sometimes against Arkansas.
Yeah.
And that might work sometimes against, other teams you're playing. Like, that doesn't work against Georgia. Like, you can't miss turning up field at your assignment and your backer.
Yeah.
Some of the things in protection that you and I have talked about, some of the three-man games where Brailsford and one of the two guards would be on different levels, or they would slide the protection and they couldn't bump it back in time to be able to pick up the loop man. Like, and they identified it. They saw it because you saw the effort trying to get to it and trying to bump it off and trying to switch it, but then it's too late, and that guy's in Ty Simpson's face.
100%.
Like, you can't miss those against Georgia.
No.
And, the one that you've talked about where you're overloading to the right side and, Michael Carroll sets for 33. 33 goes inside, and it's like he just turns him loose.
Yeah.
And I think he was confused that it was maybe slide protection, but it was slide protection the other way, and he was locked on 33. Well, then the back sees him going inside, so Daniel Hill panics and goes to take 33. Well, then the edge blitzer comes. Neither one of them block him, and you're just like, those are the things you can't do against Georgia, man, because they get home. They're there like that, and then the precision which they run their pressures, they're not running these three-man games where the loop man's over there, around the opposite tackle, taking this big, gigantic hula hoop loop around the whole offensive line.
Yeah.
They're right there off the butt cheek, man. Like, those things are precise. And so if you miss a little bit against that group, you're going to pay for it. And I thought that was a big part of Alabama's struggles against Georgia. It's like just missed on a couple of things where they might have been able to survive against some other groups, not against that group. So it's not going to work. And by the way, that'll be applicable in this next game against Oklahoma again.
100%. I thought the defense played great, by the way. Like, the more I watched it, the more I was like, golly, they had a hat on a hat. Like, they were where they needed to be. I thought it was just a beautiful, beautiful plan. Defensively, they're calling field fire zones into rushes. I thought Brailsford struggled. I mean, I don't really know. And when your best player up front struggles, that's no bueno. So that's a
and
tough.
He's not healthy, by the way. I think people know, but you can watch film and look at his left ankle. I mean, that thing looks 2 inches thicker than his right ankle.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's playing that way, and he's not the biggest guy, so he's got to have all hands on deck. I mean, there's like he's got to play better. I didn't think there was great separation on the outside. There were a couple plays in this game that you got to make. I mean, Isaiah Horton on a drop on a circus route. A couple of, you're engaged, you're in a good spot, and Brailsford gets beat back around the face, and it didn't work out. There was a first third down of the game. They run the little end around to Jeremy Bernard, and the receivers are blocking man on, man up. And so you got one guy securing the edge, basically blocking the second level. The other guy's blocking the safety 25 yards deep on a 3rd and 3. And the corner comes up and makes the play. I mean, they block the corner first, make the safety make the play. I just think that there were just a bunch of little mistakes in this game that were magnified, and it felt worse than it was. But either way, I mean, it wasn't a good day. I mean, there's no denying that. It wasn't a good day, but I don't think the things that happened in this game are not correctable. You know what I'm saying? I know it's like a double negative. I get it. But the things in this game and the mistakes that were made are fixable. It just requires a little more strain and a little more finish and a little more attention to detail. But I think once the ball started rolling against them, it was hard for the offense to regain their composure, and it showed a bit. But that's okay. I mean, I think that they were scared to death. Like, oh gosh, if we play bad, we could be out of the playoff, even though I would have told you 15 times prior to that you're good. Just go let it rip. But either way, like you could tell there was not the same level of finish that you need to beat Georgia. And there was not the level of attention to detail that's necessary to beat Georgia.
Yeah, I would agree. And I will say, I agree with you that the defense played well. But I felt like that not missing thought also applied to the defense a little bit. Like there was one play where they slant to the right, and it's a 3-man front, no pun intended for what comes up after us. And James Smith, it's not really a true slant. It's almost like a gap replaced to the right. And James Smith runs gap replaced to the left.
Yeah.
So Deontay Lawson and the 2D linemen go right at the snap of the ball. He goes left, and the space vacates immediately, and it's like a 7-yard gain.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you can't do that against that group, man.
For sure.
Like that's not a 2-yard gain you're making up for. Like that's a first down.
Yeah.
And then there was another one a little bit later where they run like a full slant to the left. And 56 for Georgia is the backside guard. They're going inside zone to the right, and he just gives like a little shoulder shimmy with his left shoulder,
right,
and cuts off that defender from getting across his face to the gap, and it's like north-south, bam, there it goes for like 13 yards.
Yeah.
Like those are the little misses too that just they weren't themselves on those little things, and Georgia was. And it's those little misses that I thought were the big difference against this group. Now we could talk about drops and different things of that nature,
Sure.
which drops were a problem. But like I'm sitting there watching that game, Greg, going to halftime, and I'm like, what would Ryan Grubb have done with this Ryan Williams all year?
Yeah, that Ryan Williams played great.
I mean, imagine how different the offense could be if you could move. Like Jeremy Bernard has had to be the ultimate utility player.
Yeah.
Running back, H-back, Y, move, motion, screens, deep balls, throw the ball. I mean, trick plays. Imagine if you could let him just be him for a couple plays, and you had Ryan Williams and that acceleration.
Yeah, he's
Which,
scary.
by the way, the one little screen to the right where he makes the move and then gets around the corner to the sideline.
Yeah.
That was stupid acceleration. Like, that's not supposed to happen.
No, he's a freak. It's just you need him to be that guy. And I think he can be. Like, I do think he's been nursing a couple things. Like, I don't think he's at 100%. I think he's a little bit like a sports car. Like, when you look at sports cars and receivers are notorious for this. He's not the only one. It's just like when they're not at 100, they're like an NBA player. It's like, I don't know, I got a calf bruise. It's just I'm just not the same guy. I mean, it's just they're receivers. They're receivers for a reason. And there are some that you play with that don't care, and there are others that are like, oh, I got to go. I need a full body deep tissue massage because I woke up and I have a crick in my neck. Like they're a high powered sports car, and I think he has a little bit of that, but I also think he played great in this game. And we've we've asked the question a bunch with him. It's like, man, what's going on? Like, how can we get him back to where he was? How can we get him back to what he was doing prior to? And we got to give praise where praise is due. Like, he played great. And if he can carry some of that momentum over, that's a huge asset to have, because I didn't think Isaiah Horton played well in this game. I thought Jerm was fine, not great, not his usual self. If you can get Ryan Williams going like that, get Cuevas back, you're going to be in a really good spot. Really, really good spot. So I think there was some good to come out of it. I really do. I'd like to see a 4-man pass rush have a little better effect. Didn't see much of that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're getting home right now off the edge, which is concerning and disappointing. But still, at the same time, you never expected it to be a strength this year. I would like to see them try to create a big play or two, but I think there was a little concern with the protection, which is understandable. I thought the left tackle was not good in this game at all. I mean, how often did he get speed to power in this game?
Yeah, he got pushed.
You think?
Game, for sure.
How often does a 360-pounder get pushed? Why does that happen? Anchor. Tell me. Help me understand.
Pass set creativity gone wrong is what I would tell you.
Well, how there should be
Just
only
come
one
up
way
with
to pass set.
Well, no, there's definitely more than one. I mean, you're going to have a vertical set, you're going to have a quick set, you're going to have a short set, but it's the inside hand lead stab. It's the jab step into vertical step. And I talked to Grubb about this early in the season when I had him, and he's like, we're trying to find a fastball and a changeup. And if we can get to that, we think we're going to be in a lot better spot. And he's like, you don't need 8 pitches to go to battle with. Come up with 2.
Cutter?
Yeah, don't need a knuckleball. Like, don't need a spitball in here. Like, give me a fastball and a changeup. Like, let's be Mariano Rivera. Like we need 2 pitches and we're going to be good. And
love that.
I just don't think that he's ever gotten there. And
100%.
He's not the only one. A lot of these tackles out there, we did the Joe Moore Awards semifinalist show last night. We were talking about it a little bit of consistency and just how some of these guys, they get in their own head of, oh, I got to do this set and I have to punch with my inside hand and it's like, just trust your technique. Like come up with your set and take it and react to what the guy's giving you. I told you this story a while back. I can't remember who the guy was. He played center in the NFL. I don't know why I can't remember his name. It was like the coolest video I've seen in a long time.
Mark
he was
Stepnoski.
talking about Stepnoski was a warrior now. He would have shopped at your CBD store for sure, but he was a warrior. No, it was. I'll go back and find it. But he was talking about Khalil Mack and how Khalil Mack used to run this 3-man game, and he would come inside, and he's like, I must have watched this literally 500 times he's done it. And because they were in the same division, and he said, it may have been Travis Frederick, actually. And he's like, we would slide the protection out, and they would outside, and Khalil Mack would come back inside. And he said every time he would come back inside, he would give this little head bob to the center, and he would give an inside swim move.
Yeah.
And he said, so I was like, I'm going to be ready for it. When I saw the alignment, here it comes, I know it. I go back out there, and instead of taking my normal set, I overset a little bit because I know he's going to give me that head bob inside swim move. So I'm going to go ahead and get a step ahead of him. To when he gives me that swim move, I'm already in front of him.
Right.
And he said, I get out there, and he goes, if you watch it before he gets to me, it is perfect technique, perfect timing, everything. And unbeknownst to me, I guess Khalil Mack noticed that I overset. And what does he do? He puts his head down and puts his face mask into my chest, and I think the back of my helmet was the first thing that hit the ground.
Oh, no.
Because I didn't anchor. And so he actually talked about how he stopped watching film from an individual perspective as much and like studying individual moves and what guys did. He's like, I came to the realization that if I don't play with my technique that I know I'm capable of and that I need to trust, these guys are too good for me to cheat. I can't cheat them. I can't cheat these guys. They're too good. because they're going to see what I'm doing, and their reaction is going to be better than what I can counter with.
Yeah.
And I think, I think what he was saying was like, my counter is not going to be as good as their counter. I
No.
just got to do what I do.
No shame in
And then
that.
trust that I can make that adjustment. So it was really cool to hear it. And so that's what I think's happened with not just Caden Proctor, a lot of guys. They're in their own head thinking they have to have this creative set for every different guy, or, oh, he's 2 men removed. Like, I have to have my quick lateral set here. And it's like Grubb said, man, have a fastball, have a changeup. If you need to short set them, fine.
Yeah.
But don't make it 7 different things when you're doing the one different thing.
You're 6'5", 360. Have one set, and that set be strong. I don't care what it is.
And your strength should be, hey, buddy, you have to get around me.
Yes.
Good luck.
Good luck.
And that, by the way, that includes when you go inside too.
100%.
You still got to get around me, and
100%.
that's going to be really hard for you.
Yep.
So,
and here's the other thing. One other thing that I noticed in this game too. And I just want everyone to understand this. If you go to play 91, everybody. It's a throwaway play. It's in the third quarter. There's 10 minutes left. Okay. And for everybody that wants the next best thing, for everybody that wants the 5-star to go in there, and the guy that's tweeting, he can solve all the problems, and this is we need the fresh. Clearly the veterans don't know what they're not good. We need the freshmen. The freshmen are better at whether it's receiver or on defense or along the offensive line or at quarterback or at running back or wherever the positions may be. Okay, play 91 is why.
This Alabama offense.
Alabama offense, it's play 91 overall if you just look at it all the way through. If you click on the game 30371, it's play 91. You go through.
Give me the Alabama offense. What's my down and distance? What's my
It's
time?
second and 5, third quarter, 10 minutes left. Alabama's on their own 18-yard line. Going out.
Got it.
This is what you got to be careful of. Okay, this play is an inside zone play with an RPO to the right-hand side. It's an inside zone to the left. Ty Simpson puts the ball out, preparing to hand it off to A.K. Deer. A.K. Deer is quite literally chipping the right end. A.K. Deer completely busts the play. And if you even look prior to that, between the motion and the reset and all this other stuff, he completely busts the play. It's 2nd and 5. You actually had a good first down play. You gained 5 yards on your first down play on a run by A.K. Deer. So the high side is high, right? But the low side, drive killer, is low. He has a bus. Ty Simpson has to kill it. Now it's 3rd and 10 because the guy didn't run the correct play. The entire offensive line is in unison. It's blocked up. You look at it, there is a massive gap between the left guard and the center. A.K. Deer, if you really look at it, he might hit his dang head on the goalpost. If you go back and look at it, there's nobody there. There's a big old hole, a huge old hole, big old hole. He's on the safety. He's at the 30-yard line. Instead, he's trying to chip protect off the right side. This is why you got to be careful playing the young guys. It's not a reflection of A.K. Deer. It's just one minor example of some of the growing pains you have when you go with youth. Great talent, high ceiling, low floor. That's what you got to be careful of. So that's a critical play early in the third quarter to try to get back into the game, and all of a sudden your quarterback's having to baseball slide in the backfield 5 yards deep to set up 3rd and 10.
This is the way some things happen.
But it's the way it goes. Guess what? You know what happened on our second play of Mark's Heisman year? Second play of the season. Mark went the wrong way. I had to run up in the line and broke my nose. I got hit so hard. Literally broke my nose. My helmet came down from the top and broke my nose.
That feels soft.
Because Mark went the wrong way. It happens. This is Mark's first start. It happens. It's not a big deal. And guess what? You know how many times in my career I've ran the wrong play? A million. It happens. or made the wrong read or made a mistake. It happens. But guess what? It happened a whole lot less when I was a fifth-year senior. A whole lot less. Maybe once a season as a fifth-year senior, whereas it's once a game as a redshirt freshman. You know what I'm saying, Cole? So, like, that's the thing. Like, just be careful what you wish for, because when you get into the postseason, every play matters. You can't have busts. And when you have busts, you're dead. And it kills a drive. And that drive might be what ultimately keeps you out or loses the game. Like, you just got to be careful. So, that's just something, an observation I made too. And there was a few of those throughout the game where there were busts by younger players. And one is where one of the young receivers is attacking inside leverage on an out-breaking route. You can't attack inside leverage on an out-breaking route. You got to attack the outside shoulder. Just little things, little itty-bitty things. And there were a bunch of that, I feel like, today.
No doubt. All right, we'll continue talking Championship Saturday, college football playoff matchups. Isaiah Hull's going to join us next and give us his thoughts on this Michigan situation. He covers the Wolverines. What's next in Ann Arbor? Right after this on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Going to get to Isaiah Holt to discuss the firing of Sharon Moore here in just a moment. Before we do that, I will tell you about your CBD store. If you're looking to lose a little bit of weight, the Trim by SunMed on the shelves now at your CBD store. Holidays are here, obviously. Extra food, more snacks, you're going to dinners at different people's houses. They can help you with that. If it's arthritis, anxiety for you, they have products to help you there at your CBD store. Three locations: Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleaver, Trustful just off 459. Largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements, skincare, gut health, and more. Your CBD store where good health hits home. Isaiah Holt joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline to talk Michigan and Sharon Moore being out. Isaiah, can you do your best to just walk us through the timeline, best of what you know of how this was happening, how long this was happening, and how it finally led to Sharon Moore being dismissed as the Michigan head coach?
Oh man, I don't even really know where to start, and I mean that quite literally, because we don't really know how long it was happening at this point. I've been trying to piece this together for a few months now, but never really was able to come or arrive at the truth. And I'm glad
Isaiah,
that
hold
there
on.
are.
Does that mean you heard about this potentially months ago?
Started hearing about it back in October, but
Gotcha.
it was
Okay.
also one of those things where, and it wasn't really much of a surprise because I mean his Instagram has at certain times shown, if other people like different pictures and stuff. I even had an incident with an ex-girlfriend where Sharon had gone back and liked a bunch of her pictures from like 5 years ago, six years ago, something like that. So, and she had reached out to me and was like, "This is a little creepy. Like, it's not like he just liked my most recent pictures. He had to go back in my profile." So that was last year summer, and that was kind of where things started seeming to be kind of odd for me, right? Like that doesn't seem like normal behavior. And then once we started to kind of get into the mid of this season, after the USC game, I started hearing rumblings of like, hey, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. Of course, it's nothing that I could ever prove, hence you never heard me report on it. But that was kind of the point where I personally stopped defending him in terms of like the trajectory of the program and all of that. And yes, I know the name of the person. I'm not going to share it, but it wasn't even just her. Like I'd heard rumblings of other people that were other women who were contacted by Sharon, and that he was somewhat using his head coaching position to kind of look outside of his marriage a few times here. So with that, like it was starting to kind of escalate behind the scenes. I started hearing at the same time that there were donors who were also hearing about it and getting antsy and wanting to find a way to prove it in order to oust him. And I know there's the narrative that's happening right now where it says, well, if Michigan would have beaten Ohio State, that this wouldn't have happened. I don't completely disagree with that, but at the same time, the week before the game, I was on a call with someone who would know, and they said there is a group of donors who have hired lawyers, and they're combing over everything as much as possible about this exact situation because they were basically going to take everything and lay it at the doorstep of the athletic department with the idea that regardless of what happened in the Michigan Ohio State game, that they wanted Sharon Moore out, that they couldn't rightfully stomach everything that he was doing behind the scenes. So you have all of that. Then obviously he gets fired, and then apparently had an altercation. This is me just kind of triangulating a little bit, as it has an altercation with the subject, and just the address that was put on the Pittsfield Township Police media thing indicates to me that that is accurate. And is now in jail, and it's a heck of a way to crash out. It's pretty. I can't even put words to all of this because it's one thing to be a head coach outside your marriage doing whatever you're doing. I mean, that I'm sure that happens more in college football than people would like to admit. But to have it come out like it has publicly, to get fired for it, which we don't really see very often, minus some Bobby Petrino type of shenanigans, and then to close it out with going to jail. I mean, I I'm kind of have a loss for words when it comes to the whole story. But that's the basics that I know at this point. But it's a terrible look for Michigan. It was already a stain on Michigan and continues to get worse. And I'm really curious to see just kind of how things transpire from here because yesterday was just pure insanity.
It's wild, and it's just, I know that there was a lot of wins. I know there was a lot of success under Jim Harbaugh, and this, whether it's fair or unfair, this is in a roundabout way connected to that era. But I mean, how will Michigan fans remember this era of Harbaugh?
I think there's some who will act, and I was just reading some message boards before coming on, and I like to have the pulse of the fan base that have been able to compartmentalize and say like, oh, you can't put this on Jim. I think, I mean that's true to only some degree, because betting and this kind of weird stuff like this has happened multiple times in Ann Arbor in the Jim Harbaugh era. And so for it to close out with his handpicked successor, I think it's impossible to extricate it from the Jim Harbaugh of it all, right? Especially because would Sharon Moore be the choice if Jim had announced much earlier, hey, win or lose, or especially win the championship, I'm out, and got Michigan ready for, okay, we're gonna take a look at the other coaches. I don't know if Sharon Moore would be the obvious hire. Maybe Jim would have tried to force that to happen, but Michigan might felt more inclined to say, hey, we're one of the biggest brands in college football. We need to take our time and look for somebody. So I think it's only somewhat right to have it tied to Jim Harbaugh because Sharon Moore became the head coach kind of as the result of the timing, the abrupt departure from Harbaugh. Michigan was there. I mean, I know there were some that were trying to kind of torpedo it to some degree, but like Michigan was trying to extend Jim and have him stay and give him a max contract and all of that. So without the timing and the abrupt departure and all of that stuff, I'm not sure that otherwise Sharon Moore would have been named the head coach, because it's not like he was this long-time offensive coordinator, and it wasn't like the offense was the true strength of the team at the time, right? That was the defense. So I don't know that he was the natural successor as, like, say, David Shaw was for him in Stanford. So I think you have to somewhat tie it back because, I mean, this was a guy that Jim Harbaugh hired and elevated through the ranks every step of the way, from tight ends coach to offensive line coach to offensive coordinator, and then made him his handpicked successor as head coach. So, and because it's not the only time that we've seen kind of similar things, and granted, we can't blame Jim Harbaugh for secret sexual sin that's happening behind the scenes, right? Like Matt Weiss, and there's another that wasn't really highly publicized that was let go about as quickly as everything was found out. Like there was a pattern of not properly vetting, and I don't know how you vet this. I said this on my show yesterday. I don't know how you would vet that type of thing, but at the same time, considering that it was like a repeated problem for Harbaugh assistants, I think you have to kind of look at it and say, well, it's part of it.
Isaiah Hole joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He covers the Michigan Wolverines, discussing Sharon Moore's firing in Ann Arbor. So what's next? Where do they even attempt to go? How do they even attempt to go find a coach, hire a coach, where we are in the calendar right now?
I think the first thing that has to happen is everyone at Michigan needs to kind of coalesce and get on the same page, which is not often been the case in Ann Arbor. It's very factional, and it's been the case really ever since Bo Schembechler died, who was the one who was kind of able to get everyone on the same page. You know, you look back to the 90s with the Gary Moeller situation, and everyone was able to unite under Bo Schembechler and say, okay, we're going to elevate Lloyd Carr now, right? Like after the Lloyd Carr retirement, Michigan's famously not been on the same page. Maybe a little bit more so with the Jim Harbaugh hiring because that was the hottest name in all of college and pro coaching, right? But now everything's donor driven. So I think that's going to be the first thing is getting some of those high profile donors, whether it's Jolyn Ellison or Nate Forbes at Champions Circle, getting all of those people on the same page, getting them on the same page with the regents and the athletic department. As far as who they target, I mean, there's a litany of people out there that I think that they'd look at. I mean, I think that Michigan would swing for the fences even more than Penn State had attempted, and I mean, failed up until it kind of fell into Matt Campbell. That's the guy I would have thought that Michigan would go after would have been Matt Campbell if this happened a week ago. But I think that they'll look at existing head coaches all over the place, whether it's pro, whether it's college or maybe even some pro names. That would probably be more the assistant pool. Not really sure where they go, but I still think that they'll be able to, as long as they can kind of come together and get everyone on the same page, I still think that they'll be able to make a swing for the fences type of hire. The timing, while not necessarily ideal, it's not imperfect because you still have a couple weeks before the transfer portal. You've got the class signed, which is you're going to have to do work there because of the transfer portal. So I think you've still got some time to kind of operate, and it will be interesting to see, especially because you still have all of the college football playoff teams. Will they go that route and try to find someone who's currently coaching one of those teams? I don't know. But I wouldn't limit it to those who are currently available. But in today's world, obviously, you back channel things. You get a yes, and you can kind of relay that to recruits or transfer people if you need to. So it'll just be interesting to see if they're able to A, get everybody together and on the same page, and then B, who they'll go after. As far as who, I mean, there's names that are speculated. I can promise you this: it won't be Brian Kelly.
That would be a shock to the system if it was Brian Kelly. But then again, I mean, he's won everywhere he's been and has had success up north, but that would be a stretch. I have a hard time envisioning it. Obviously, most of our listening audience, Isaiah, is curious about Kalen DeBoer. And I have a hard time envisioning that as a realistic option, partly because of the competitor that Kalen DeBoer is and the optics of leaving Alabama with unfinished business. To me, doesn't seem like something he'd want to live with, just knowing him, knowing his personality. But it seems like that's the name that continues to come up. You know, what have you heard about his, I guess, name being a target for from the Michigan's perspective?
I think Michigan would be stupid to not at least try with Kalen DeBoer, right? Like if he's receptive to that or not, that's kind of on his end. And but I think there's been some smoke that Kalen was interested in the Michigan job when it was kind of out in the open that Harbaugh was strongly considering leaving and Michigan couldn't lock him down. He was still at Washington before Alabama ultimately made the hire, right? So if I'm Michigan, I'm going to pull out all the stops to number one, see is he receptive to this, and B, what would make him comfortable leaving that situation and coming to Ann Arbor. So I think that will certainly be on Michigan's agenda, and he would be on the short list. But I don't think it would be limited to Kalen DeBoer, of course, right? Like I think there's others out there. You know, people have mentioned maybe going after Jesse Minter, the former Michigan defensive coordinator, who went with Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers. I don't know that he would want to come to Ann Arbor if the current athletic department administration is there, just kind of given how it handled Signgate and all of that stuff. Jed Fish is another name that constantly has come up. He's a former Jim Harbaugh pass game coordinator for the first 2 years that he was in Ann Arbor. Obviously, he's got the head coaching experience, having brought Arizona from the depths and taking over Washington after DeBoer left. And then after that, I don't know who they would go after, but I think that those three would be the first probably three that they would look at. And then after that, I think you're starting to just do the same type of stuff that everyone else would do, which is, all right, could we, could Kenny Dillingham or Rhett Lashley or, one of those types of guys, could one of those that have been successful at other schools, could they potentially, would they potentially leave? Clark Lee would be another. Would Kenny Dillingham or Clark Lee leave their alma mater to come to Michigan if the price was right? I think that those would be the next steps. But I do think that, keeping in mind, Michigan doesn't have everyone on the same page yet. But even so, I do think that there are donors who are intrigued about the idea of, can we get Kalen DeBoer to listen to us and go from there? I think that's probably the first thing on the agenda.
Isaiah, we appreciate the time today, man. Great stuff. It's a wild situation. A lot that can still happen. We'll probably be back in touch with you again to help us with it more. But thanks for hopping on today.
Of course, my pleasure as always.
All right, there you go. Isaiah Hull, he covers the Michigan Wolverines, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. It's a lot in Ann Arbor right now. It'll be interesting to see which direction it's going to go. You can find him on Twitter at Isaiah Hull. Find his work at wolverineswire.usatoday.com. A lot more college football coming up next right here on Jocks.
We Welcome back. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning on Jock 94.5. 8:44 here in Birmingham. Taylor Hicks, Birmingham's favorite son, coming up here in about 15 minutes. He's got a great show coming up this weekend that benefits Toys for Tots. So tell us about that here in just a little bit. Before we move into that, I want to tell you about my friends at Crocker Moving Services, a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home, whether your whole home packed up, move your company headquarters, moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move. I was on ESPN.com a moment ago, and there's a story about Chris Winkie. And I haven't really thought about it because nowadays the 24, 25-year-old quarterback is not that uncommon. Say, Bear, is it? I mean, how many guys this year are either 24 or 25 or are on the verge of turning 25, like Chandler Morris, for example, quarterback at Virginia.
He's an old soul, yeah.
On school number 4, I believe he turns 25 in about 2 weeks. And I'm kind of amazed at how everyone has talked about Chris Winkie and how there's now a story about Chris Winkie. And yet, when he won the Heisman as a 28-year-old, first of all, what an advantage that is to be 28 playing college football.
At Florida State, no less. Yeah.
Well, that's great. But being 28, you have a massive advantage and perspective on life that is probably pretty helpful, I would imagine. But how that was like a once-in-a-generation situation, and now we got 25-year-olds all over the place.
In essence, it's become the norm. I mean, yeah, there was Winkie and your Brandon Whedons, and that was that was about it.
B. Weedski.
Yeah, maybe one other in that time, but now it's okay. It's almost like that's become the new Australian punter. Like, oh, they got one and it's working. We got to get one.
Probably. And it's funny going back and looking at some of these pictures too from this story by Andrea Adelson. It's kind of amazing, actually. You see Winkie, who's looks pretty dang close to the way he looks now. And then you see Josh Heupel sitting next to him. Just a young Josh Heupel, who was a Heisman finalist. LaDainian Tomlinson, who I played with in New York. Just a young LT. And then in the far left-hand corner of the picture is Drew Brees. And Drew Brees looks totally different, I feel like. Like, totally. The rest of them look kind of similar. Winkie a little different, but not that much. Heupel, same way. LT, same way. But Brees on the far side looks totally different. And then Winkie, in his picture with his trophy, he looks like he's 37.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks aged, if you will. But I was just stumbling across that, and I found it interesting. It's like, goodness gracious, 25-year-old quarterbacks are not the norm, but not that strange. Damian, do you think if you were playing college football at 25, you'd be in a pretty good spot?
Oh, man, with ease. With ease. I mean, I didn't hit my growth spurt till I was about 23, so going from about 5'6" to 5'8", yeah, it'd been some damage out there.
If you're playing at 24, 25, you're still young and dumb. You're just not.
I don't know.
You're not that young, and you're slightly less dumb.
And the spatial
as you would
awareness
be at
I would have had
20 and 21.
in the slot. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Much better feel for zone at 25?
Absolutely.
Is that where you're at?
Absolutely. This is a grown man strength. Like, you're teetering towards it at that time.
Yeah.
At that age, would you get out of bounds and start avoiding contact?
Oh, absolutely. Business
Okay.
decisions.
Probably need to.
It's the
Body
long
would
game.
fall apart. Body's not built for it
Yeah, man.
at 25.
But you're you're smarter. And I think that in situations, especially at the quarterback position, I can only imagine just I mean, there's probably there's not many coverages in college that you hadn't really seen. Like you feel like I know exactly what's going on out here. It's just the youthfulness on the other side. It's a little bit different.
Well, you just have better perspective. I mean, it's like at 25, I had played 3 years in the NFL and had my pension and retired at 25. Like you just had I gone back, if I was still playing college football at that point, it's like I would have felt so much different. I mean, just what does it really matter? Throw it into double coverage, just rip it. You can pull it off.
Yeah.
Like,
Is that what Phillip Rivers is about to do?
he really don't care. I can promise you he doesn't care. Philip does not care.
44, man.
44 years old.
But also, I think like in the locker room, you're in a different perspective too, because at 25, I mean, there's only so much that you can really talk to a freshman about. Like, there's only so much conversation you could really have with some of the younger guys.
Yeah, how do you relate?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, you were born in what year again?
It's crazy. Well, the funny thing about Winky, so Winky is coaching Haynes King, who on January 9th turns 25 years old. And what I'm trying to figure out, Haynes King came out of high school. His last year in high school would have been 2020. So Haynes King was 19 when he graduated high school. The old double kindergarten major, I would imagine. With a January birthday. Haynes King driving in 8th grade.
Full beard.
Yeah. Full beard, license, picking his boys up on the way to middle school. Hey, hop in the back of the truck, boys. Let's go.
Let's ride.
All right. Take a quick break. Come back here in just a minute. Taylor Hicks joining us here 9 minutes from now, telling us about his Friday night concert benefiting Toys for Tots. We'll do it next on Mac and Cube. Welcome back, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:55. Taylor Hicks coming up here in just a couple minutes. He's got the harmonica ready to roll. Are you going to play, T?
Absolutely.
I want to hear about your golf game. I want to hear about your
Well,
trip
there's
to
not much.
Hong.
There's not much golf going on.
Oh, yeah, he always says that.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's freezing, but something tells me, knowing how much you love the game, you probably spent a couple hours at the range dialing it up for the spring so you can sandbag everybody again. But we look forward to our visit with him in just a minute. We always look forward to looking at the deals that we get from Bill Smith Buick GMC, the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. Just take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll see what I'm talking about. I've gone up there, bought multiple vehicles. I bought 3 different vehicles. I'll buy my 4th. I'll buy my 5th. I'll buy my 6th from Bill Smith. That's because I know I'm going to have a better experience and I'm going to get a better price. GMC Sierra 1500 SLT 4x4, 67.7's the list. You can get it for 52.7. $15,000 off the sticker price. It's what keeps people coming back. That's 75% of their business repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. So take the short drive to Coleman, I-65, exit 310, Highway 31, or you can just go online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com. All right, Taylor Hicks coming up. But I really don't want to talk to Taylor that much. I kind of want to talk to his dad. Should we get your dad in here and tell us some Taylor Hicks
why
kid
not?
stories?
Yeah, I mean he's got to keep it PG.
Well, good luck. Well, I don't know. It's 9 o'clock hour. Probably good, right, D? I mean, the kids are at school. We're safe.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're
We got
good.
time.
Holiday time started.
Holiday time. Yes, they are. They're still in school. I can confirm because I'm checking mine out here in 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, Taylor Hicks joins us here on Mac and Cube.